What is going on, Savages? It is Fireball Friday. I'm about 3 drinks in, and I want to talk about some AION, so let's get to it. Welcome to the SavageMine YouTube channel. If this is your first time here and you want to learn more about crypto mining and crypto projects, I suggest you click that subscribe button and the notification bell right now so you don't miss out on anything. And you also want to follow me on Twitter, because over here I keep you updated on what's going on with the channel. It's super boring over there right now, although there was a little bit of drama, but it's kind of cool. Some things happening with some conferences and junk, but I'm not really going to cover it. If you want to know about it, let me know in the comments over there. Maybe I'll bring it up or something, bring up the video, because there's video of it. It's pretty cool. But I also run polls over on Twitter to determine what we'll cover that night on the live stream. So that's kind of what's going on over there. So be sure to follow me over there. I try to use these two platforms, YouTube and Twitter, exclusively. Because I don't want to have, a dozen different social media platforms. It probably hurts me in a way, but I think limiting the number that I have to manage is actually better for me. So that's why I do that. I do have Discord, although I'm not real active over there as far as my server goes. I do interact with other projects and channels and stuff like that, but as far as my particular Discord, it's not very active, but I will talk to you on there if you hit me up over there if you need some help with something. So that's probably the best way, although I use Twitter a lot for that type of stuff. So let's take a quick look at what I am mining. I'm still mining AION over here on the NVIDIA rig, Kessel, and doing pretty well there, just letting it rock, not really messing around with it or anything. Got it pretty efficient, so I'm happy with what's going on over there. And then on the co-owned rigs, the shared rigs, we're still mining CCX over there, and have been since March. So these are two RX 580 rigs, that two 8X RX 580 rigs, and yeah, just letting those things eat as well. Take a quick look at the market, see what's going on. It took a little hit today, but 5% is really not that much. We did break that support. I think that Crypto Windio was talking about basically having support at about 91.40. So we're below that now, and I mean, no one can predict what's going to happen. I don't think, but we don't know where this is going. But it's going in a little bit of negative direction, but 5% isn't that bad. All right. Let's look at my watch list here. Basically everything. Oh wow, Rio's doing well. Okay, so Raven took a little hit. Loki took a little hit. AION took a little hit. CCX took a little hit as well. Everything's taking a little hit except for Rio. Let's go and check them out real quick, because it's good to see a certain project that will, in the face of some overall market activity here, Bitcoin going down and stuff like that, it's kind of cool to see one of the projects that I'm interested in kind of hanging in there and doing well. So yeah, that's kind of a good thing. That's pretty good volume for them as well. I mean, almost 3,000, and this is actual volume, because the markets that they're in, I don't believe that there's any like wash trading or anything like that going on. So yeah, looking cool. I like that. Looking pretty good. As far as my top 10 goes, this is what I've got going on. I've got CCX at the top, AION second, Raven 3, and on down the line. This changes a little bit over time, and this is kind of in the order that I really like the projects, as far as which ones I like better, from the most to the least down here. So don't get offended if you're in one of these projects. I like them all, you know. So you know, I can't just list them all on one line, or else I would, right? I mean, there's not much gap between, you know, each one. It's just the way it fell. So yeah, just the way it works. So let me check the chat real quick and see if anybody's in here. There's 7 people watching. What's up, Shuby? What is up, Dan? Ash Raptor, what's going on, man? Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is going to be cool. We're just going to talk a little bit about AION. I've got a couple, you know, a little bit of content, just notes and stuff like that I want to talk about with AION. So that's what we're going to get into. And cheers, because like I said at the top, I'm like 3 of these in, so I'm feeling all right now. But this has kind of been an AION week. I started off the week with a tweet about you know, the Miner Monday being an AION edition. So I did that initially. Then I think I took 2 or 3 days off, and then I did a show. Let's see, what did I do? I did a live stream about how to mine AION on Wednesday, I think. And then on Thursday, I did the OAN, the Open Application Network. Pretty long video. It was about an hour long, but I think it was pretty informative. So there's some good stuff in there. And then tonight we're doing AION Crypto Fireball Friday. So cool stuff. All right, so let's look at a little bit of AION related info here. So there's a bunch of really great news and important stuff coming out for AION this month. I mean, this month is huge for AION. Recently they changed from the AION Foundation to the Open Application Network, or the OAN Foundation. And this is the video that I did last night about that. So check that out if you want to know more. I probably need to get some timestamps on here because this is an hour-long video. I'm just really bad about actually doing the timestamps and stuff. So yeah, but great information there. Lots of cool stuff in there. And the next really big thing that is happening with AION is the implementation of Unity, which is their hybrid proof of work, proof of stake, consensus algorithm. And there's some people that don't believe that hybrid proof of work, proof of stake algos work. But let me tell you something. If there's one project or one team that could pull it off and almost make it, you know, transparent and no problems and all that stuff, that would be AION, in my opinion. Also on November 19th or 20th, the Unity OAN kernel will be upgraded by node operators in a coordinated hard fork to implement Unity. Now, I was reading some stuff before the stream, and it looks like it's probably, because it is, well, maybe not. Let's see, it's the 8th. I was going to say that the code might already be in there, and they're waiting to implement it. I don't know if that's how it actually works from a technical standpoint, but what I was reading was making me feel like it's probably already there as far as the code goes. I don't know. Maybe if Yashnik and those guys are in here, maybe they can clarify that for me. But it just seemed like that was the case. So what exactly is Unity? So Unity, we talked about this a little bit last night. I'm just going to briefly cover it. This is the hybrid consensus algorithm that merges proof of work and proof of stake. You know, proof of work is what we're used to as miners, but proof of stake is like the master node stuff, right? So it's like where you lock up your coins to help secure the network. So it merges proof of work and proof of stake to help secure the network through the standard proof of work method that we are all familiar with, and also provide an economic security through through proof of stake using Java smart contracts to manage the entire staking life cycle. So it's done through contracts, Java, and that was that whole Java contracts, and that's part of that whole AION virtual machine and all that stuff that they were doing with that. So again, we're back to looking at all this stuff that has happened to AION over time and it seems to be all these different little building blocks that we've been witnessing over time here. So it's kind of neat to see all this coming together, you know. So a side effect may also be an increased throughput due to network throughput due to the extra computing power on the network that's provided by all the nodes. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work, but I think the proof of stake nodes could actually be utilized for all sorts of additional features and support on the network. You know, there are other projects like Zell and Loki that use these master nodes or the nodes, the staking nodes, for all kinds of different things, because it's all this computing power out there that they can actually utilize. So I think that that's kind of neat. Maybe AION will look at something like that. I don't know for sure, but I think that that is a possibility. And Unity may actually also offer a lower barrier of entry for users who want to participate in the AION network, because instead of having to purchase the expensive hardware and worry, you know, mining rigs and GPUs and all that stuff that we have to deal with, you know, that we talk about on this channel all the time, you know, not all the time, but sometimes, and worry about all the maintenance and troubleshooting and all that stuff, they'll be able to actually purchase and stake coins to support the network, and that's it. They don't have to mine, they don't have to do any of that stuff, so they're just staking. And even though both proof of work and proof of stake produce blocks on the same blockchain, we actually saw that back here on this other graphic here. Let me see if I can get back over there. So let's see here. Yeah, right here. So even though proof of work and proof of stake produce blocks on the same blockchain, each algorithm has its own difficulty and reward distributions, so they don't compete over the same actual rewards. And we've talked about this before. I think in one of my Unity videos before, I was talking about how you might actually see a slight increase in block rewards because you are going to be rewarded for the transactions that are provided by the whole staking and all that stuff going on. And plus the whole open apps and all that other stuff going on. So you might actually see a slight increase in block rewards, which is kind of nice for miners. So Unity is going to include staking, which basically means assigning your AION to be used by the network for security and block production and validation. And for that, you'll receive a portion of the block rewards as a staker. AION is going to do this on a live network. This is really cool, which means that they'll be one of the first major networks to try this. They're going to do this on a live network. You know, that's risky, but again, back to the whole, you know, how the team works and the capabilities of the AION team. I think that they're going to do well and everything's going to work out just fine. The goals of Unity are to increase the security of the network by introducing economic security via proof of stake, and also to be adaptable to network size and topology. So these are just the goals. They also want to lower the barrier of entry to participate in network security via the staking, like I said before. They also want to adhere to AION core principles by being simple to implement. That's one of the things about AION, is they want things to be as simple as possible. On-ramps and onboarding users and developers and all that stuff, they want it to be easy. But most important for us as miners, they want to retain the proof of work rewards expected by miners. So that's important to remember, is that they aren't just shutting us out as miners like some projects do. You know, Energy being one of them. They started out as proof of work, and you know, then I mean, this was all in the plan. It's not nothing. I'm not knocking them. It was part of their whole thing. It's not like they just, you know, decided one day to do it. But basically, for a while, you could mine Energy, and then they transitioned over to proof of stake. And this is just one project. There's you know, a lot of them that did that. They started off as proof of work. They transitioned to proof of stake, and now the miners are left out in the cold, basically, right? And that's not what AION is doing. So that is good news there. So they're not transitioning to an exclusively proof of stake model at all. So they actually care about miners that invest large amounts of time, money, and effort in proof of work mining equipment that helps secure the network. So they realize that they can't just block out the miners, I guess. And when staking, one of the functions some entity, some person, not person, but some computer has to perform is validating the proof of stake blocks. So here's a list of the current validators that are already set up to support Unity. Since Unity uses proof of stake, it's going to change up the way pools have to operate on a technical level if they want to support staking. And other entities can stake as well. Like you can actually stake on your own, like solo staking, even if they aren't pools. But since this is a hybrid proof of stake, proof of work algo, it makes sense for all the pools that are out there to actually support both. It just makes financial sense and support sense. You want to be able to support the stakers and the miners, so it just makes sense. The pool operators have to register their pool in the pool registry. This allows the delegation, which means that AION coin holders can allow the pool to stake their coins for them. That's the easiest way, to look at it. It's not. It might not be completely technically correct, but that is the easiest way to think about it. This allows the holder with any amount of AION to stake without having to run a full node themselves. So could you imagine someone with one AION wanting to stake and them having to run a full node by themselves? And that probably wouldn't make much sense from a financial standpoint, right? So this is just a list of the current stakers. The current validators. So that's cool. Good stuff over there. And if you want to learn how to do the validation, there is a website for that on the Open Application Network website. I'll post this in the chat over here real quick. And you can see right here that it talks about solo staking as well. So this is what, pretty simple of 7 steps here, but there's some of these that might be a little bit more complicated than they need to be, but for some people they might not be able to figure this stuff out. So that's where the public pool staking comes in, and that's the way I would go with that. So let's talk about some really important dates that are coming up for AION this month. These are super important. On Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, on November 12th, Sam, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, the head of strategy at the AION Foundation will be speaking at the Capitol by CoinMarketCap in Singapore. So that's kind of huge, you're getting out there. And we actually talked about this last night about the OAN and how they're actually already starting to kind of market a little bit, which you don't see that from a lot of projects. And I think that that's a good change for AION itself, is to actually get out there and market. They pulled a full page ad in the New York Times. They're getting out there on the circuit, doing interviews. YouTubers are interviewing them. They're going to all these conferences and overseas and getting the word out there about AION, and I think that is important and a good thing. On or about Tuesday, November 19th, that's whenever all that we've talked about tonight is actually going to be implemented. Unity will be implemented, so they'll begin staking and all that cool stuff that goes along with that. And I'm just super excited. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be really cool. I think that it's an important step, obviously, in the evolution of AION. I think that hey, on the 20th, 19th or 20th, hopefully we'll see a lot of great things from AION. So let's keep the conversation going in the comments below, in the chat and all that stuff. If you're watching the video after, throw me some comments down below. Let me know what you thought about the video, whether or not you liked it, what I can change, what you think about AION, what you think about Unity, staking, proof of stake, proof of work, all that stuff. Just keep the conversation going down there. And before I get out of here, let's go ahead and look at let's do some shout outs. I haven't done shout outs in quite some time. So let's look at some shout outs. Let's give a shout out to Crypto Wendy O. She does technical analysis, and she also does these really super cool videos. She's getting a lot of traction with the videos, or I'm sorry, with the interviews. Doing really well there, interviewing some pretty high profile folks, and I think that is super cool, good for her. The other person, or the other shout out, let's do is Serpent XSF. Serpent X Special Forces is what it stands for. He does a lot of like product reviews and mining stuff. He does laptop reviews, maintenance. You know, he talks about how to you know, not reflow. I was going to say reflow, but paste like GPUs and things like that. If you've ever done if you know what reflow is, that's hilarious because it's kind of funny. But I baked, just quick little story here, is I baked my PS3 motherboard in the oven one time to reflow it. It's not, don't do that. It's not suggested. I mean, you got to take the battery out and stuff like that, but basically all it does is, what it's supposed to do is, I mean, there's a long story about it, but real quick I can tell you. So if you've ever seen like electronics that say ROHS on it, that is like a standard of I can't remember what it stands for off the top of my head, but it's basically saying that the materials used in the electronic components aren't toxic in any way and things like that. Well, the problem is that welding and welds, that don't use lead and other high quality materials like that for the connections, can actually, if they're being shipped from overseas into the United States, they have to meet that requirement, which means that they don't have that inside of it, right? And because they don't have it, then a lot of those weld joints, or not weld joints, but the solder joints can, over time, they'll separate and you'll lose connectivity. So a reflow is whenever you basically heat it up enough, heat the device, the whole device up enough to make the solder joints melt and reflow into each other so that they make the connection. So it sounds crazy, but that's what that is actually about. And if you're at the point to where you're having to reflow something that way, because you're not going to sit there and resolder everything, probably just need to replace that device, because it's not going to, I mean, the PS3 that I did it to, it actually did fire back up and it would work. It worked for maybe, I don't know, a couple weeks. And then it started doing the same, I think it was the amber light of death or something like that on it. And anyway, so I don't know, I'm just totally rambling here. So yeah, check out Serpent XSF. I can never say that, especially if I'm 3 Fireball and T's in. So, all right, so check him out as well. And then we got, do I really want to do that? Sure. All right, let's talk about Red Panda Mining. He's almost at 10,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Congratulations to him. He's a AION supporter as well, so check out his video on the Open Application Network. He does a lot of videos. He does a video a day basically, and it's always mining rig related, usually testing GPUs, product stuff. I think most of his product stuff has been about AION though. I don't think that he's done a whole lot of other projects or anything like that. It's mostly, I think it's mostly AION. So yeah, check him out as well. Cool stuff over there. All right, so let me check the chat, see what we are up to over here. Where is beer or fireball coin? Exactly. I get it. Okay, I'll check my Raven account. Thanks so much for that, Dan. I appreciate it. You don't have to do that, man. The only reason I even have any links down there, like or any addresses down there, is because people complain that I don't. So I just threw some stuff down there. Yeah, I appreciate it though. I do. Not need it or anything, but I do get it. I mean, whenever I first started watching YouTubers and stuff, I was trying to, do my part and give them some tips every now and then as well. So I understand the desire to do that. I need to get set up with. Eventually, I'm going to enable Super Chat, but if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know why I haven't. As far as YouTube taking 30% and all that stuff that they do, I just kind of disagree with it, so I'm kind of protesting it by not enabling it. And again, that probably hurts my channel a little bit because, they see that I don't have it enabled, and they're like, oh, he doesn't want, super chats or whatever, but he gets some viewers, he gets some, some live stream viewers and stuff like that, so they probably, I'm not going to say D-rank, but they probably don't try to support my channel very much. So, and my complaint about it is that they don't put that information out there in a easily viewable manner. So if you try to give me a super chat, then you're not going to know that YouTube is taking 30% of that. And I think that 30% is too much. Not only is it too much, but they also don't tell you that they're taking it. So that's my complaint about that. Anyway, let's see. No DAG size for AION. It's Equihash algorithm. Yeah, thanks, HashRaptor. Yeah, SerpentX and Wendy, they're both really cool. You probably were already subbed to Red Panda. I've sent quite a few people Wendy's way because a lot of the TA channels they go like way over your head, like whenever you're a miner like we are. I mean, some of the stuff, the terminology, so I just don't get. But she kind of breaks it down and makes it kind of easily digestible. So that's why I kind of, in the mining community, I try to send folks her way for that particular technical analysis part of it. And plus, she hasn't done a lot lately, but she used to do these weekly. She would do where you could, on Twitter, she would do a poll, not really a poll, but it was like a, hey, like, retweet with a comment. Like a project that you want her to chart that week. So you can, if you're interested in AION, for example, you could reply to her tweet, and retweet it and like that tweet and all that stuff. But basically say AION, right? And then the winners, like, I don't know if she takes the top 3 or something like that. Those winners, she'll chart each day of the week. She's been kind of busy, I think, with events, conferences and stuff like that. So I think that she hasn't done it a lot lately, or maybe I've just been missing it. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, it's super cool, being able to do that from a mining perspective, just being able to look at it and go, okay, I'm going to, check out what she is saying about this project and what it looks like it's going to do, That's what it's all about, is like trying to predict the future, right? So it's kind of cool to get her to look at projects that you're interested in. So I think it's a value added by her to the community. So good stuff. HashRaptor. Okay, so if you theoretically had a 1060 rig, 1060, wanted to move to spec mining, well, a 1060. I'm a little jaded right now, so I don't know if that's the right word. Jaded. I'm quite negative on mining right now, only because the profits are so horrible. A 1060 rig, I don't know. I mean, we can look at what to mine and kind of get a little idea about what's going on, but I don't think that there's anything out there. I mean, spec mining wise, 1060. You know what? Honestly, I would probably throw it on, if you want to go like straight up spec mining, I would probably throw it on Arrow. Arrow, I think they might be on one super small exchange right now, and that's it. And I think they just started in July, and they are a privacy coin, like many of my top 10 are. I think it's Equihash, and they have always on privacy, so you can't even send a public transaction if you wanted to. It's not even an option, so it's just always on. What's up, Bitcoin Jake? Thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, 1060 rig, I would probably throw it on Arrow, maybe even Rio. But this is not so much spec. I mean, it's even on CoinMarketCap and stuff like that. It's on several exchanges, you know, Trade Ogre and stuff like that. So the biggest spec play I would say for 1060 would probably be Arrow up here. That's, you know, out of this list anyway. Yeah, I do have some videos on Arrow, I think. Well, not I think. I do have some videos on Arrow. I haven't done one in a while, but they are in here somewhere. I think I did a whole week. Here they are right here. While it's syncing, I don't know yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's a pretty good shot right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 videos on Arrow. So yeah, cool stuff. Well, I appreciate you tuning in and leaving likes, Bitcoin Jake. That is super nice, man. I appreciate it. I guess that Yashnik and CryptoZ were too busy to tune in, even though I am talking about their favorite project of AION. But that's alright. What's up, Crypto Knight? What's going on, man? Yeah, the AION video, or I'm sorry, the Arrow videos. Yeah, I mean, I even covered a lot of wallet stuff too, it looks like. But I also did AMD on Simple Mining, AMD on HiveOS. I'm sure that I did. Thought for sure. It's probably, oh, here it is. So this is HiveOS and NVIDIA. So it looks like maybe the very first video was HiveOS and NVIDIA rig. You know, because it is, I think it's Equihash, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's 192, I think. You know, AMD is going to be really bad at it, at mining it. So NVIDIA should be pretty good, and 1060s I think should be all right. Mining Arrow. If that doesn't work out very well for you, I would probably go to Rio, because they have the CN GPU algo, which works pretty well on AMD and on NVIDIA. So as far as content goes, that's all I wanted to cover. I don't know if you guys wanted to chit chat about stuff. There's none of y'all watching, so I mean, I can look stuff up, whatever y'all want to do. Just let me know in the chat over there. I don't really have anything else going on here. I was doing some painting, not in the room here, but in the rest of the house. I was doing that. I was supposed to order all the cables and stuff for wiring up all the TVs in the house. You know, that whole component closet project that I've talked about before. I was supposed to do that this week, and I didn't. I did order a, if you saw my tweet about that, I ordered a MSI, I'm going to forget the whole name of it, but it was the Gaming 1660 Super, the one with the GDDR6, and that should be here next week. So I'll probably do a little bit of testing with that. It's the one that cost, I think it costed $259 or $269, something like that. Maybe $259, I think is what it was. So, okay, so the wall behind me, I didn't paint. The wall behind me is actually boards. It's actually that weathered wood. Basically, you have to nail each one up individually, and it takes forever. But let me turn on some lights, and I can show you that real quick. Let me see if there's anything in here that y'all don't need to see, other than clothes. So it looks like that. It's kind of cool. Probably going to eventually maybe put some type of, you know, wall art up there. You know, crypto related type stuff. Just haven't yet. Ooh, boy, I'm not into ETH that much. I mean, I have some ETH, but by the time I started like mining, I did mine it early on, and Ethereum Classic. I ordered the 1660 Super, Dan. But as far as which one, yeah, it is GDDR6, correct. I think the cost of, if you're mining, I would probably go with the 1660. The 2060 is expensive. I mean, if you're gaming and mining, maybe. But if you're just mining, I would probably go with the 1660 because of the power, you know, consumption, and electric costs and all that. But as far as ETH proof of stake, you know, I don't know. I have not followed it that close. I know that there's some stuff with ProgPow going on. I know that, you know, it seems like the goal of Ethereum in the beginning might have been an obvious. Well, I think it was pretty well known that at some point they would go to proof of stake, but I don't know whether or not, you know, they'll actually do it or not. I don't know. There's so many developers, there's so many proposals, EIPs, and all that stuff. There's no telling what's going to happen with ETH. It's definitely something to keep an eye on, though. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to get the 1660. I want to see what it's up to. What is going on with it? I've got some kind of older hardware. I mean, I've got 10 series NVIDIA cards and RX 580s. That's all I have right now. So, you know, I haven't really done much upgrading of hardware over the past year and a half. But as far as ETH proof of stake in 2020, I don't think it'll be 2020. If they do it, it would probably be after that. Probably well after. If I was to just guess based on not much data, but just my gut feeling, I guess. Yeah, I would say it would be after 2020. Uh, 1060 or 1070 for what? I would always go with the 1070. 1070 is like, at least it used to be the middle of the road, best economic mining GPU back whenever that was all that was available, the 10 series. 1070 was like the one that you would want because of the power draw and what it was able to mine and the hash rates you would get with it. Not necessarily on the ETH side, but Ethereum, but pretty much everything, all the other stuff that wasn't F hash, or if it was Equihash or any of those other, some of those other algorithms, then the 1070 was really good. The 2070 Super I mean, they're just, the cost, if you look at, I haven't done like a whole lot of looking at it as far as the math goes for hash rate versus cost and all that stuff between a 2070, but it just seems, and a 2070 and like a 1660, but it seems like if you can get two 1660s for the price of one 2070, and you get more hash rate on the mining side, right? Whether you're mining, even if you're mining an Equihash with souls and all that stuff, then it seems like it would make more sense to get two 1660s than one 2070. But I haven't done all the math and figuring out, the hash rates and which one is more. But I do believe that two 1660s is more than one 2070. But I could be like totally off, but I'm pretty sure that that's true. We can actually kind of vaguely go and look at it real quick. Let's go over here. So 1660, let's just say you were doing Rio, you would be getting 1250 or about, and if you get one 2070, you would be getting 1850. So my point was pretty clear. If you have two of these, two 1660s, cost wise, okay, so you're going to be getting 4350 on Rio, and 2500 on Rio, and then one 2070 would get 1850. So again, I just think that probably two 1660s, especially if you went all the way to like a 1660 Ti. Let's see what that gets on. Yeah, it's like 1300. So you'd be getting 2600 with two of them, right? And then the power, yeah. So I would lean more towards 1660s if you are just mining. Now, if you're doing gaming and all that stuff, I would probably go with the 2070 for sure. Yeah, Dan, I would go with, just at this point, 1660 for sure. Because of cost and power draw and all that stuff. I mean, I don't even have one yet. I've got one on the way, but yeah, 1660, 1660 Ti. Depending on what I think that Raven is actually just slightly more efficient when power cost per mega hash on a 1660. I think it's just a slightly better than a 1660 Ti. Let's check it out here. So this says you should get 17 mega hash on Raven X16R v2 with a 1660. A 1660 Ti is just 17.2. So it's just 0.2 more. So then you'd have to factor in your cost. You know, it's a little bit more than a 1660. See, 90 watts. Let's look at, so they're both about 90 watts. Yeah, I would, if I was mining Raven, I would go with this plain 1660 or a 1660 Super. And I don't even know what a Super gets because it's not on here. So, yeah, I definitely know you don't care about power, Dan, which must be super nice. Yeah, so how much are the 2070s, Dan? How much are your 2070s in your area? Yeah, because then you just, I mean, you could just fire up a spreadsheet and kind of do a little bit of math and kind of figure it out. But just, you got to keep in mind, like, you know, this is only accurate right this second, like as you're doing this, because the hash rate of all the projects, you know, the difficulty, the network hash rate is going to change every day. It changes every, you know, few minutes, or it changes every second, you know, depending on how you look at it. So, and how it's averaged. So you kind of just have to make the best decision at the moment and what fits you the best, you know, your environment the best, and then go for it. Yeah, it's kind of, it's one of those things that, like, you can't really, another miner can't really tell you what is best for you, right? You have to just, hey, look, I mean, look at what I'm doing. I'm mining CCX for months and months and months at a loss, right? Or at least a couple months at a pretty significant loss. You know, simply because I like the project, I want to support the network. So, you know, I would not recommend, if someone was trying to do this for, you know, mine for profit, I'm not the guy to talk to. I really am not. You know, there's like the spec mining, because I'm paying out of pocket for a lot of this electricity, just because it's an altruistic thing for me. Like, I like the project and I want to support them, so I throw my hash power at it and I just absorb the cost of the electricity, and hopefully in the future they go up a lot in value, and then I can feel okay about all this time that I gave them with my hash power mining at a loss. I hope that makes sense, because this is small, like hobby type mining. If I was a business, you know, doing hosting or trying to actually make a profit off of mining with GPUs, then I wouldn't be mining the stuff that I'm mining now, right? You know, you would have to, at this point, you would have to be mining ETH, and you're going to squeak out a little bit of a profit, or ETH or Ethereum Classic. You're going to squeak out just a tad bit of profit on each card, and, you know, scale that to however you want. But I can tell you that those farms right now that have RX cards, I'm not going to name any names, but there's some out there that are pretty huge, you know, large multi-thousand GPU farms that are off. They're off because they can't, if they turn them on, they're going to lose money, and they can't afford to turn all those GPUs on and start mining something in hopes that, you know, it goes up in the future, like small hobby miners, home miners can do. So it's just the way that's just the way it works. It's pure economics, you know. I don't have to, I mean, I pay an extra $140 a month to run those 2 rigs to mine CCX. And that's just what I do. So which is not fun. I ain't gonna lie. And probably by the end of the year, December 31st, I'm going to have to reevaluate what I'm doing and whether or not I'm going to continue down that road. And actually, the rigs that I'm talking about, these two rigs here, are co-owned. So I'm going to have to get with the other owners and try to figure out, you know, the way ahead and what we're going to do. So we just kind of put a date of December on that just to figure it out. Hey, thanks, Hash Raptor. I appreciate it, man. Have fun with the college football party. Yeah, there's very little profit right now. And people spec mining, that's all well and good, but you know, spec mining meaning that you're basically mining a project that's not even on an exchange or anything. All well and good, but you know, you still got to pay for that electricity, or at least most of us do. If you're Dan the Dane, then you know you don't have to really worry about your electric costs. And in that environment, I would be mining all kinds of crazy stuff because I wouldn't have to worry about it. But you know, spec mining, you kind of have to get a good feeling about the project. You have to keep your finger on it and figure out what's going on behind the scenes, right? You want to stay involved in all the social media for that project, even the Bitcoin Talk thread if they have it. All that stuff, you want to really stay on top of it because, you know, at any moment, those little projects, you know, I've talked about this a bunch before, those little projects, anything could happen. You know, one of the devs or the main dev or the dev, however you want to look at it, can get sick. You know, something worse could happen to them, and then the project is gone, right? So you those little projects that don't have a lot of support on the developer side, you have to really stay on top of them. You know, there's projects right now that are, you could still mine them, but there's no support, no development, no nothing going on with them. So, you know, we ran into several of those whenever we were doing the random coin mining show where like you were able to mine it, the network was still alive, but there was nothing going on as far as no development, no way of trading your coins that you mine other than maybe over the counter, but who's going to buy it? Because, you know, it was, yeah, there's those projects are out there. A shot? Ugh. All right, I'll do a shot. I'll have to go get a glass though, because I've got my little sweet tea and fireball here. All right, give me a second. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to do kind of a small shot because I'm already feeling it. No, I'm not offended. Y'all just want to see me get all wasted and everything. No, I'm good. All right, cheers, guys. Doesn't go down as smooth as I thought it would. I'm actually not a big drinker at all. This is just for fun, you know, kind of try to draw more people in, you know. I don't drink that much at all, to be honest. Ethereum address. Do I not have one in there? Nope. I can put one in there. But you don't have to. Again, you know, I don't need donations or anything. Wow, I don't have one. I'll have to figure it out here. Let's see. I have some ETH. So I gotta have an address, right? Thought for sure I had no, I have it I have all my donation addresses documented, but for some reason it wasn't in there. All right. What I'll have to do I have to email it to myself. Give me just a second. I probably already have it in there in the email somewhere, but oh, you know where? I probably do have it. Let me see here. Nah. Thought I had it, but I didn't. Right on, Crypto Knight. Thanks, man. What kind of shot did you do? A fireball? Yeah, I don't shill stuff. You can kind of get the feeling of that in the AION videos because, you know, I've actually, you know, I'm pretty honest in those videos. And even the one last night, you know, I was like, there for a while, I was down on AION pretty hard because I just didn't like the direction that they were going and how things were working. But it wasn't really, you know, I talked a little bit about it last night. It's not really their fault. It's just an overall market fault, right? But I'm glad that they finally got, you know, smart and were like, hey, we need to make a little bit of a change here because, you know, the what's happening out there in the crypto space is changing and the real world is changing. So let's figure out what we need to do to, you know, make a product or allow developers to make products that can be used, you know, in the real world. So, but yeah, I was down on them pretty hard for quite some time. Hang on a second for the for the ETH. Hang on a second. All right, I'm still working on it. Give me a second here. Why do y'all want the ETH address? I assume that y'all are going to try to send me some ETH. But y'all don't have to do that. Like I said, man, I'm good. But, I mean, I understand. I do. I'm just weird about donations and stuff, or tips or whatever. I'm very indecisive too. I think that, I don't know where that comes from, but here. Here's the ETH. Oh, you're doing jack shots, like straight jack, or like Jack. Was it? Well, they have Jack Daniel's Fire. They have Jack Daniel's Apple, I think, right? So is it just straight Jack? 'Cause I'm actually from Tennessee, so I think that that's cool. I like all the trivia around where Jack Daniel's is created too, or where it's manufactured and made and all that. Really neat. Oh, Jack Honey. See? That's pretty cool. I haven't even tried that. It looks good though. You know, another one that I want to try is, and if you're watching this like after the after the stream, I'm just BSing now. So like the earlier on stuff is AION. Now we're just winging it from here on. But there's a what's it called? Screwball. It's Screwball, and it's peanut butter whiskey or something like that. I gotta get some of that because I like peanut butter. So apparently, according to crypto Twitter, it's pretty good. So I thought about trying that. I need to get some of that. And they said that if you just chill it and drink it straight, they said it's fine. You know, like I can't do a lot of shots of Fireball. I mean, and, you know, again, I'm not a big drinker, so I put sweet tea in Fireball, and that works out really well for me because then I can just drink. Yeah, like I can't even tell it's even there for the most part. So, but yeah, it's called Screwball, and it's peanut butter. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, if you're a hardcore alcoholic or whatever, it's kind of like, what? You know, why peanut butter or whatever? But, you know, I don't know. It sounds kind of cool to me. I would definitely try it. So Dan the Dane. So Fireball is cinnamon whiskey. So it's whiskey and it's got like a taste of cinnamon in there. See? And it's not expensive. That's the biggest selling point probably. I think that it's like $20 or $22 or something like that for a fifth. So it's not expensive. I don't know, like alcohol content. It says 33%, 33.5, 66 proof. Again, I'm not a big drinker, so I don't know what all that stuff means. I just know that if I get 3 Fireball and tea mixed drinks, then I'm good. 2 or 3 and I'm good. Yeah, if you don't like whiskey, you won't like it at all. But if you do like, did I say whiskey? If you don't like cinnamon, you won't like it at all because it's pretty strong cinnamon. But yeah, it's good. It's good if you like cinnamon. But I mix it with sweet tea, and it tastes really good. Yeah, I'm definitely not an alcoholic. The only time I really drink, honestly, is during this show or before the show. on Fridays. Pretty much every other night I don't. So yeah, I like Jack Daniels too. I'll have to try some of the, you know, I have tried their Jack Daniels Fire, I think is what they call it. That's pretty good. That's basically the cinnamon whiskey, you know, their version of Fireball. And it's actually really good. Really good. Yeah, there's some folks around here that, like I tell them about Fireball and sweet tea, and they're like, huh? I was like, listen, if you like Fireball and you like sweet tea, then just mix them and thank me later because it's freaking awesome. So, yeah, it's a good drink. If you're not, you know, hardcore, like alcoholic type, you know, that just wants to do shots and stuff. You want to just have a drink and, you know, let it come on slow and all that stuff, then it's good. Is there anything else y'all want to look at? Jack and honey or Jack honey? So you're like, you put honey in there with it? That's kind of cool. People are like dropping off here, so I guess that they got the impression that I was about to end the stream, I guess. All right, I will check BTC here. Hang on. You sent me 5 BTC? That'll be cool. Oh, geez. Just kidding. All right. Let me see this address here. Make sure that's the same. You know how a lot of people have multiple addresses and stuff, so give me a second here. I've got a pending. So let me know if you sent something to any other addresses other than BTC. Yeah, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. I do. Kryptonite. So Loki, they transitioned to random. What do they call it? Random. It's random X something. Let me go and look. They're basically CPU only at this point. Loki is going to transition to exclusively proof of stake at some point. So that might be why. I did a video on mining. I think I did a video on mining. Mobile. Maybe I didn't. Loki Blink. In one of these videos, I think I did try to mine it at the end and then realized that it was CPU only. Yeah, here we go, right here. How to mine Loki, right here. So check out that video because at the end of it, I think we did actually mine it, but I want to say the hash rate was really low or something. I don't remember what all happened with this, but yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, we were, yeah, right here. See, you can see that we were mining it on AMD, but it was only 884 hashes. So, and that was with 12 GPUs. So I think it worked, but it was really super inefficient, if I remember right. So you can do it, but I would say, if you're not on, it's because it's random X. So let me go over here and look. We can actually look to see. I can't remember exactly what the name of the. Check this out real quick. Yeah, see, it's CPU only right here. And that particular rig that we were using only had, Celeron 80, or was it 30? Was it 3330 or whatever? So it was not good. Yeah, Random X Loki is the name of the algorithm. Crypto Knight, are you talking about staking coins on Loki? Or what are you talking about? We can go over to miningpoolstats.stream. Yeah, I like Hive. It's a little bit overwhelming at first, especially whenever you get into, when you start building stuff up and you get all these flight sheets and stuff going on. But I try to keep it pretty clean. If you had a lot of rigs in here, I can see how it could get overwhelming pretty quickly. It's not too bad though. It does, once you kind of get used to the layout and what you're looking at, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's Kryptonite Random XL, but they call it Random X Loki, depending on the name. Probably what pool you use and stuff like that, it will kind of determine that. Random XL Loki. So if you're not using, if you're using like a 30, was it 3930? I think I might have said 3330, 3930 Celeron. A lot of us build rigs that have a really weak CPU and weak memory because that's not an important part of the rig, right? Whenever you're doing GPU mining, you want good GPUs. You're not going to use the CPU other than maybe direct a little bit of traffic. And the memory doesn't really matter too much, although you need to have enough, depending on the algorithms that you're using and stuff. But for the most part, we have 8 gig or 4 gig in most rigs. So, yeah, so mining a CPU only project, like Loki now on that rig is going to suck because we've got really weak CPUs. So you could do it. Like I've I've got several, I think I've got a couple of videos on dual mining. So you could set this up to dual mine low-key with the CPU. And let's see if we can do this real quick. So let's see here. Hive, let's do a, what do I need to do? I'm gonna go to flight sheets. And do a edit here. Let's see if we can get it. I don't even know. I'm just winging it here. I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but we might be able to start using the CPU to mine Loki here. Let's see here. Gather a little bit of info here. First. And I don't even know if this is going to work anymore because it looks like I was using some beta stuff here. Beta miner. See what this other one was, see if this worked. This says YouTube here. Okay, so here I used random or XM rig. I wonder which one of these is newer. I think this is it. So I think this other one that I was pointing to was probably the wrong one. This is probably old. Let's look at XM rig. Referral miners. Copy this. All right, let's try this. All right, let's go to AION. Not Loki. Add a miner. We're gonna go Loki here. Hero miners, we'll go with Canada, I guess. Not multi-CPU though. Canada low-end CPU. Sounds good to me because I got a Stellaron in this rig, so try that. And see how, because it knows that it's CPU only, so it chose XM rig. So let's choose that. Set up miner config. Got the algo in there already. That's cool. So I'm gonna, this threads is for how many threads you're gonna dedicate to this miner. So I'm gonna go 2, although I think I was just playing around with that to see if it would work. So I'm gonna take that out and just leave it as the default. Apply that and then update, see if that works. Yeah, there's a lot of projects going to staking. I mean, Loki's been doing it for a while. You know, AION is doing it. Off the top of my head, that's all I can remember as far as the ones that I look at. Now that popped up there, 1311. That's a lot for AION here. I don't know if what I did you can actually do. I don't know if that's allowed or not, the way I did that. So Dan the Dane staking is like whenever you lock up your coins for, basically you lock them up and you say, okay, network, whatever the project is, you can use these coins to secure the network, you know, and use it for transactions, and for that staking you get part of the reward, the block rewards. But there's a lot of different things that you can use a master node or a full node, well, a master node. Like Loki has service nodes, and they actually perform a lot of functions, right? So they deal with Messenger, they're going to deal with LokiNet. There's a lot of different things that Loki's service nodes do. So, Dan, yeah, you can stake. It depends on the project, though. Again, you know, each one is different. You can stake some or all. A good example is, well, not necessarily a good example, but an example would be CCX, Conceal. So they have a banking feature, and it's cold staking, which means that you lock up some coins, and for locking up the coins, you take them out of circulation. It's not really, you're not running a node because it's cold staking. So it's just in wallet on chain, right? You just do it. And once you do it, those coins are locked cryptographically, and you cannot get to them until the staking period is over. And it's like a CD. It's like a certificate of deposit. They're locked up for a period of time, and for that you receive a little bit of percentage of increase. So if you locked up, you know, 5,000 CCX, I don't know what the percentage is. It depends on how long you go. But that is one part of staking. Now that is a unique thing that's associated to CCX, which is one of the reasons it makes it one of my favorite projects. But other staking is like Loki. You know, Loki has, I don't even know what their minimum is. I don't have a node or anything with them. Zell has nodes as well. They use the nodes for Flux, what's called Zell Flux, and it's like a computational network. And let's get in here and look at them. Zell nodes. So they have different versions, different tiers. They have 10,000 Zell will get you a Zell node basic. This is just another example. Now each project is going to be different. You know, it just depends on how that particular project is implementing a node. So you got to kind of look at, you know, Raven doesn't have that, right? Raven doesn't have master nodes. Never will, because it's not in their, well, I'm not going to say never, but it's not really in their plan to do something like that. Many of the projects that have nodes plan them from the beginning, you know, as part of their project. So, you know, you got Zell Node Super, which is 25,000 Zell, and you can see the hardware requirements here and what it takes. And then the reward structure goes like this. You know, you actually, even though Zell is going to continue to be a proof of work also, so you can mine Zell and receive rewards, you can also stake and do a node, right? Service node, or what do they call them? Zell node, yeah, Zell node. And you know, you can receive some of the block rewards, right? Based on whichever one you have. Now, one thing that I would want to point out about Zell in particular is I love this project because they still give 75% of the block rewards to miners, proof of work, because they realize that, hey, these guys are actually, you know, they have hardware. they're dedicating electricity and hardware and troubleshooting and maintenance and time and effort and all that stuff into it. So they give 75% of the block rewards to proof of work. I don't know if they'll continue to do that forever. Hopefully they do. But the Zelle nodes get a little bit, 25% depending on which one you actually have. Yeah, I've got videos on cold staking on the CCX stuff on my channel here. There are probably, since it's one of my favorite projects, I think I have quite a few of them. I have a playlist here for CCX, I'm sure, somewhere. Right here. So there's one in here. There's at least one that is dedicated to cold staking. Right here, cold staking overview plus roadmap updates. So it's not that old. I don't know, it's maybe a few months. So check that out. That talks about cold staking and what it's all about, and goes through the process of, it shows you how to do the cold staking, and it's all done in the wallet, which is really cool for CCX. You don't have to do anything outside the wallet. It's all right there in the wallet. Really cool. Yeah, and basically pretty much every coin on this list, I do content on them, other than maybe Veil. I don't know if I've ever even done any content on Veil at all. But every other one, every other project in here, I've done content, pretty extensive content on all of them. The most probably being Conceal, second most probably being AION. I'm seeing a trend here. I think maybe this might actually be the order of the amount of content. I would love to compare that. Like if you went in here and saw the number of videos per project and then compared it to the number that it ended up on this list, it's probably pretty accurate as to which one has the most amount of content on my channel. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, Dan, I have it's not up right now, but I do have a Raven full node on a Pi, Raspberry Pi. And it's only off because I was reconfiguring the office here. So did y'all see what I was talking about earlier with, what was it? I was talking about a little bit of drama in Malta and it ends up being, I don't know if y'all saw this or not, but it's hilarious. It is Richard Hart talking to or asking questions of Craig Wright, and it's pretty funny. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, right on Crypto Night. Yeah, I try to really focus on quality projects. I do a little bit of research. I say a little bit, probably too much. Do too much research on each one. So if they end up on my list, they're probably pretty solid in my opinion, obviously, because I mean, I say this all the time. I'm not sponsored by any of these projects at all. CCX, I got a bounty one time, a small bounty for just supporting the project and just doing videos on them and stuff like that. But as far as if they were to do something that I disagree with, you would know. I'm not gonna, there's not I'm loyal, but I'm not loyal to the point to where I'm going to lie about something, right? If something happens, I'm going to tell you straight up. This is what happened with this project, and I disagree with it or whatever. So And then AION, some of the pool operators have donated a little bit, very small amounts. That's not a slam or anything. Again, I don't need any donations, guys. I mean, it's not what this is all about. I like talking crypto and the immediate vicinity, the people around me, you know, friends and stuff like that. I can't talk crypto to because they don't know anything about it at all. So that's why I have to fire up, you know, YouTube and start yapping about it. So. I was going to try to find that video here. Yeah, this one's probably the
Hi
best
everyone.
one.
Well,
a second. So, Crypto Tips is the channel, and she does really good videos too. I don't know her name, but she does a lot of pretty cool stuff. Let's see if I can get this to play here. I probably do know her name, I just can't think of it right now. I mean, I'm just trying to get things organized here. Yeah, I need more AION too. I agree. I'm actually mining it right now, but you probably saw that earlier on. So, let's see if this is going to.
it is 8 p.m. in Malta.
So it actually starts at 14 minutes. So I'm going to zip to that. That's whenever all hell breaks loose. So kind of funny. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it very well because it's kind of, you know, he's on a mic, and then Richard starts off. He's not really on a mic yet, you know, at the very beginning. So it kind of takes a second. Yeah, Billy B. Yes. I agree with that. He definitely comes across as super arrogant at first, but I think that if you just give him a chance and you keep listening to him, I mean, it's not like he's lying, right? So he hates scamming, he hates scammers. He's like that guy that just shoots straight no matter what and doesn't worry about offending anybody or anything like that. I don't know. I like him. I've been watching him and following him for quite some time. So, yes, at first I was like, man, who is this guy? You know, who does this guy think he is or whatever? But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to say that he's perfect or anything, but a lot of the stuff, I can say that probably 90% of everything he says, I'm like, yep. That's true. You know, so it's real easy to you know, like a guy that you agree with, right? So yeah, a very large percentage of the stuff that he says I agree with. There are things that I disagree with him on, but the stuff that I agree with him on overshadows the stuff that I disagree with. So and we've had a few. I've had at least one back and forth on Twitter with him, and that was way early on. Honestly, it was about something I disagree with. So, yeah, He's cool. I pointed out something on his website a long time ago, last year, at the end of last year, like a misspelling or something. And he was like, "Hey, thanks, man." You know, I don't know. He's all right with me. And even McAfee is pretty okay with me too. And yeah, his interview with not interview, but they were going back and forth. You know, McAfee and Richard Hart, pretty cool. That was a good stream. I was pretty entertained by that. All right, so let's get back to this. This is about when Richard starts chiming in here. Hang on a second. I do want to note that some people on Twitter are posting the interaction after this, and they're saying that the organizers started playing the music, you know, like the walk-off music, to cut the interview short, like to basically save Craig Wright. But you can see right here that they had already played the music, and he was walking off whenever Richard Hart started asking him questions, right? So don't. I think that it's not fair, and it's not factual to say that the organizers started playing the music to save him, right? You'll see that on Twitter. I don't think that's what happened. That doesn't. I mean, they're under some time constraints too, right? So they had already got him off the stage. You'll see here in a second. You'll see what I'm talking about. But just keep that in mind, that it doesn't look like the organizers of the event were trying to save him in any way. It was just like, look, we gotta move this on. But I could definitely see some benefit and some really good viewership if they were to do something like, you know, like a debate between Richard Hart and Craig Wright while they're there. How cool would that be? I don't know when this conference is over, but it's in Malta, so that would be super cool. Anyway, here we go. All right, so on my end, I am getting sound, and it looks like the desktop audio capture is working, so I'm curious as to why you guys can't hear it. But I might be able to do it this way and just let it play through my mic here. Let me back this up a little bit here. And y'all can obviously go to this as well, but if you just go to Crypto Tips, it's one of her most recent videos. I'll see if this will work. Let me know the quality of sound. I doubt it's going to be great, but you know, playing it back through my speaker, and I hope I don't get like crazy feedback or anything. So here we go.
Questions from the audience?
I don't. Why do you pretend to not be a total fool?
In the public again, you know, you've bothered my family, you've bothered me, you've bothered the people I work with. This will be the last time that you ever see me. Those words from your mouth.
No, actually, I said I didn't want to go on television again. Please don't bullshit. One, that was an hour interview that was cut and changed, which you'll find out in court soon, which they altered and they asked different questions and gave different answers to.
So we'll do a new one. Are you Satoshi?
Yes.
Okay. So you wrote the Satoshi white paper.
Yes.
And you implemented the 1 megabyte block limit.
I put a temporary limit in there after being badgered by Mr. Finney.
Right. So when you had access to the code base and could update the GitHub, and when you had access to your account on Bitcoin Talk, and when you had access to your Satoshi@gmx.com email, when did you decide that you would stop using those and stop having influence over the project, and then SideChannel appear as a broke guy later with no successful business interests, no Bitcoin tied to his address, no running from the government in Australia from the Australian tax office?
Sorry, I'm not actually running from Australia. I'm in Britain. You know there's extradition laws in Britain to Australia? Sorry, morons who make things up. That's called libel and slander. That's why I've already got a number of people in court, because they're dumb. They have no idea that you can't basically be a public figure in Britain and run from the government.
Right. You're only a public figure because you cosplay as Satoshi, right?
No,
Real
actually,
Satoshi would still be writing Bitcoin proof proposals.
No,
Real Satoshi would have been there with me fighting against BCH and taking the grant, but you didn't even fork real Bitcoin. You forked a copy of Bitcoin. You got a copy of a copy.
I did not fork Bitcoin. Segwit forked Bitcoin.
Right,
So, no, you want to say these things and whatever else, and you want to say blah, blah, blah. No, I actually made a deal with Jihan. Jihan actually stabbed us in the back, so that's a different issue.
I was watching you during the hash rate race when you were competing with Kelvin's hash rate for CoinGeek to try and actually take over as the authoritative chain against Bcash.
No, actually, we did not.
You lost.
Sorry, didn't.
All right. So I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but it was hilarious. He basically told, Richard Hart basically told Craig Wright that he was cosplaying as Satoshi. That was one of the things he said. And then, you know, he basically called him out on a bunch of other stuff. So it was pretty funny. Let me post this. Let me go back to 14 minutes and I will post that in the chat over there to make sure that you guys see it, because it's really good. And give a lot of credit and like and all that stuff to Crypto Tips here. Again, I should know her name, but I don't. Make sure you you know, like the video and stuff like that, because her video was pretty much the only one that I saw that had the whole thing. There were people, like I was saying earlier, that cut it off and was saying that the organizers, you know, were basically saving Craig Wright and stuff, and they didn't. You saw him come back on the stage after the music had played, but then at the end there, you did see them. You know, you can see them. Some of the organizers here, it looks like they were signaling to the people running the show here, like, hey, get the music going because we got to move this along, you know, because this would have probably you know, gone on and on and on and on. It probably would have been a while. So yeah, I don't know why the sound is bad, because it used to be, I got complaints about it being too loud. So let me I don't know. I'll play around with it and see if it's like a goofy setting that I've got in here or something. But anyway, yeah, check out that video. That's the link right there that I sent in the chat there. It's super cool. So I dig stuff like that. All right, so I am going to, it looks like you guys are getting out of here too. Y'all are going to go chase women and stuff like that. So it's all good. I will see you guys next time. I don't know when I'll go live again. I think originally I said that I would do something tomorrow, and I might do something tomorrow night or maybe even during the day. I was kind of expecting Yashnik and Red Panda Mining and them to be in here. So I know Red Panda is probably going to do his noon Eastern Standard Time. Probably like the rig reviews that he does I think he does it every Saturday. So maybe I'll do something after that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Depends on how I feel and all that stuff. I still got painting to do and all that stuff. So we'll see. I will see you guys next time. I will continue talking if I don't click end stream here. So I'll see y'all next time. Stay savage, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it so much.